Zé Pilintra, I hope you catch my name. Oh, but what's puzzling you is the nature of my game. I danced with glee to the samba beat and sang your songs of protest in the streets. I shouted out, who killed Zumbi? When after all, it was you and me. Pomba gira, did you catch that name? Tell me, did you? Oh, but what's puzzling you is the jogo do Exu. Thank you to, I was going to say another episode, but actually what I'm doing is I'm doing a multi-part series, and I'm going to have all these drop one week after another leading up to the performance of Sympathy for Exu in Prescott, Arizona on June 6th. So if you're watching this before June 6th, 2025, get your tickets online, get yourself to Prescott, Arizona the first weekend of June, because I want to see you in the audience, okay? And what I am doing here in this series, Jay Ruby, the producer and organizer of the event, asked me, hey, can you share a little bit about who Exu is and how that relates to the performance that I'm doing? And this morning I said, okay, how would I like to do that? And I thought, it's not like I didn't write a dissertation about the research that I did. And so I went to my dissertation to see if I found any useful information there. And what I realized is that I found my script. And so this is really going to be just public scholarship. This is me reciting a chapter of my dissertation in small chunks. I hope it's not too overwhelming. If it is, please feel free to tune out and go about your day doing other things. But if you're curious, if you're interested in knowing who Exu is and what the background and context is for this work, I hope you'll stick around. Throughout the chapter, I'll be explaining the concept of refraction and how that concept emerged from the fieldwork of this ethnography. And I'll do so by weaving examples from the data with arguments gathered from theoretical sensitivities that emerged through constant comparison of the data during all phases of research. As in any candomblé ritual, it is important to first saudar Exu. In candomblé mythology, Exu is the orisha who presides over the crossroads. He's considered the orisha of communication and is often cited as the trickster figure in the Yoruba pantheon. Without an offering to Exu, no communication happens. Without an offering to him, Exu may become offended and place obstacles in one's pathway. For this reason, I begin with Exu, syncretized with the Catholic devil and also associated with the Greek god Hermes, the etymological source of the word hermeneutics. In one meeting with the Kawe Research Group in Ilhéus, where I was a member, one professor commented that she had recently heard a quote. Não tem nada mais verdade de ser falso com quem está falso conosco. And on that particular day, the group's founder, Rui do Carmo Povos, was present and immediately chimed in with, oh, that's the jogo do Exu. My understanding of this jogo revolves around the fact that Exu is often referred to as the trickster archetype in candomblé. Povos speaks about Exu as a brincalhão, a kind of playful joker. He describes him as young, malicious, and morally ambiguous. But an important qualification of those descriptors lies in the way Povos claims he is tão ambíguo quanto os humanos. His dual nature and his ambiguity and ambivalence are exactly what have linked him to the idea of mentiroso, or liar. Because Eshu has this dual nature, he can speak lies and truths at the same time. One of the facets of Eshu's image and interpretation that can be problematic and must be understood with a nuanced and non-judgmental approach is the syncretism of Eshu with the Catholic devil. Povus describes how the fear of Eshu can be linked directly to the ways Catholic colonization of the African continent maligned the figure of Eshu and linked him to the devil in a misunderstanding which attributes him with the qualities of being pure evil. While in some cases I've been told by candomblé initiates that this relationship has nada a ver with common perceptions of the devil, the history of this syncretism has very real effects on the members of the local community. I observed several instances where local residents who were not candomblé initiates expressed fear at the sight of remnants of an offering in the crossroads. Some even referred to trabalhos, or works, as devil worship. In casual conversation, one woman I met described an incident where she happened upon some cigarettes in the road. And she thought to herself that she may as well grab them, as there was no sense in letting them go to waste. It was her son who noticed that the cigarettes had been placed strategically in a circular shape on the ground. "Mãe, acho melhor você não pegar," he said. When she saw the pattern and how they were left with other typical offerings for Eshu, she apologized out loud. "Me desculpe, não sabia que já tinha dono." And she went about her day. Povus asserts in his book that Eshu has been solicited over the centuries for help as a protector. In one of our meetings of the Kawe Research Group, he also talked about how, of course, there have been and still are despachos nos encruzamentos. He said, how else could we have survived 500 years of oppression? We resisted. We resisted. He also explains that Nago philosophy demands something in trade for every ritual trabalho requested. In the Umbanda religion, this is often interpreted as a kind of karma, a karma that might demand payback in this lifetime or might wait until the next lifetime. Interestingly, Mireia, a self-identified Quilombo descendant and trans woman, insisted that slaves did not originally do these kinds of ritual trabalhos when they were brought over. Rather, she insisted that it was white people who learned of the power of ritual practices who began to insist that works could be done to harm others or to benefit themselves. In her interview, she displayed the strongest posture of social resistance of all the study participants. Her complaints of corruption and local politics were pointed and firm. Her criticism of the ways tourists arrive, dirty the beaches, and then leave without even a shred of interest in local culture was unapologetic. She was also one of the most adamant voices in my study in her insistence that common misconceptions about candomblé be dispelled. An important subcategory that emerged from this study I have identified with the in vivo code mentirosa. This word literally translates as female liar, but I'm using the word to indicate a more open interpretation to include a variety of deceptive practices and comments about the ways other people tell lies or deliberately reveal only partial truths in an act of deception. This also encompasses the times people used the word malandro or malandra. Sometimes this word is used to describe someone who steals something from someone else, but this word was used in a different sense from ladrão, a person who literally robs something. In my observations and conversations, this word malandro or malandra was most often used to indicate someone who was known, and perhaps someone ostensibly trustworthy or of confidence, who uses his or her familiarity or position to exploit a person or situation for personal gain. What I found most intriguing about this was that quite often accusations of being a malandro tended to be aimed in both directions. The very person called malandra by one person complained about the same thing in others. This moment of realization helped me to grasp that these kinds of disconnects of logic imply that the idea of deception might be viewed differently if it is considered as rather a different perspective on the same issue. I sensed that something different might be at play beyond the simple idea of lying. And this category became especially interesting for me for a variety of reasons. One of those reasons had to do directly with methods of critical self-reflection that I utilized in preparation and during fieldwork. Having learned that lying happens to be a personal trigger for me, I approached any instance of lying, dishonesty, or deception with a deliberate awareness that I have the potential to respond irrationally, and I took efforts to stand back and observe in order to better learn from the situation. Without the awareness of my trigger and the deliberate accounting for it, I might have missed the opportunity to see this new possibility. Even worse, I might have allowed the instances of deception to trigger me emotionally in a way that would have been unproductive for the research. In this sense, I was able to both reflect on the situation and see how refraction in my perception might have distorted my perception of the phenomenon. So I define refraction as an opportunity to recognize or recognize moments of doubt, uncertainty, or discomfort, and view them from different vantage points in order to come to new understandings of a particular situation. Effectively, this becomes a moment when, in real life, the anagnoresis of ancient Greek tragedy offers a way to reprocess what we think and believe about a particular situation, especially one that causes deep uncertainty, and see things differently. At the extreme end of the scale, a person might deliberately blind himself upon realizing that he had unwittingly killed his own father and married his own mother, for example. For Oedipus, the moment of recognizing his life experience resulted in a discomfort or unease so severe that only by gouging out his eyes could he process the realization that his perspective had been so deeply distorted. This severe and tragic example need not be the benchmark for the process of refraction to be useful. Developing a sensitivity to subtle moments of discomfort or unease can assist in establishing skills for using those moments as hermeneutic tools for understanding and interpreting life as it presents itself on the proverbial stage of life. The etymology of the word hermeneutics comes from the Greek for interpret. The word also pays homage to Hermes, the messenger of the gods. Jean Grandin, a philosophy professor and specialist in hermeneutics and phenomenology, explains that the origin of hermeneutics are related to the art of interpretation, including translation and rhetoric, but more specifically to religion or theology. So while Grandin acknowledges that the links to Hermes are not indisputable, philosophy professor David Cozen's Hoy describes how Hermes, the god who invented language and speech, could be called interpreter or messenger, but also thief, liar, or contriver. This story of Hermes and his etymological links to hermeneutics open up possibilities for application in this context when compared to the ways Eshu can offer lessons for interpreting and understanding the world around us in ways that emphasize the experiential aspects of the process of coming to know things as true. Hoy describes how Hermes would guide humans on the path to the underworld at death, indicating that the medium would indeed be the messenger. This parallels stories I have heard from Candomblé initiates who indicated that when they had veered off from what they came to understand as their destined paths, Eshu would be the messenger to send challenges or difficulties to make the lesson felt profoundly. One story I heard from a member of the Terreiro I visited in Salvador in 2008 explained, Eshu me pegou. He described how he went through a period where his family believed he was suffering from mental illness and nearly had him committed. This, he later learned, was the message that he was to leave his life dedicated to the Catholic Church and begin a life dedicated to cultivating the Orishas. These examples where messages are believed to be sent from a divine realm parallel some of the stories I heard from women in this community during this study, who indicated that when they most needed it, a message came sent from God. I believe the impulses to explain these kinds of experiences as profound messages from the divine realm indicate the importance of the affective response to a difficult phenomenon. This felt and often mysterious sense of unknowing, confusion, or uncertainty indicates an opportunity for refraction in order to shift one's perspective. So that's the end of part one of the dissertation segment, and I want to end with a song. And this song is off of my album Soul Journeying from 2023, and it's called Mirror Prism. And, you know, it's funny, I always talk about how the time-traveling dream oracle comes and tells me, oh, this is why you were writing that song that many years ago. And, you know, the whole theme of my dissertation was refraction, was the sort of concept that I was talking about. And for that concept to be linked to the idea of a mirror as a prism came through as a song in 2023. So I wrote my dissertation in 2014, and the song, which I had forgotten, I hadn't forgotten about refraction. It's an important concept when you write that much on it and study it that much. But that concept was still lingering, and it came through in my song that I dedicated to the very first experience I had doing ayahuasca, which is where the mirror prism really came to life. So I hope you enjoy it. This has been part one on a series of background and context to support the show Sympathy for Eshu in Prescott, Arizona, June 6th and 7th at the Hazeltine Theater. Hope to see you there. To Deepening is optional and not required for a taste of the infinite. Aprofundarse mais é opcional. Não é necessário para poder atingir o saborzinho do infinito. If I see you on the ground, I will ask if you're okay. If I see you all alone, I will ask if it's okay to hug you. Se te vejo no chão, vou perguntar se está ok. Se te vejo sozinho, vou oferecer abraço. We're going on a journey together. You're my brother, my lover, and my mother. I will choose to have no attachments to those roads. We're going on a journey to the center of the earth and to the center of your soul, where the mirror is a prism. We're going on a journey where you will be invited to be free from your own prisons. I will help hold space for you and for me and for us, because after us there is always us, and after us there is always us. Seguro firme este espaço para nós e para nós, porque depois de nós tem nós, em nós, em nós, em nós, em nós. Canto seu caminho se perder e seguro em silêncio se quiser. I will sing you back through if you need me to, and I will hold in silence if you need me to. There is only joy. Somos